One of the most enjoyable activities when visiting parks is having a campfire. But campfires can also be dangerous if they are not prepared and maintained properly. Here are some tips on how to be fire smart and friendly when making a campfire. First, check the local fire regulations and weather conditions before you light a fire. Some parks may have fire bans or restrictions depending on the season or the fire risk level. You can find this information on the park's website or at the visitor center. Second, choose a suitable site for your campfire. Look for an existing fire ring or pit, or use a portable fire pan. If you have to make a new fire ring, clear away any flammable materials such as grass, leaves, twigs, or pine needles from a 3-meter radius around the fire. Avoid building a fire under low-hanging branches, near dry vegetation, or on peat soil. Third, prepare your fire materials. You will need 3 types of fuel: tinder, kindling, and firewood. Tinder is small and dry material that catches fire easily, such as paper, birch bark, or cotton balls. Kindling is slightly larger material that burns quickly, such as small sticks or dry pine cones. Firewood is larger and longer burning material that provides heat and light, such as logs or branches. Make sure your firewood is dry and dead. Never cut down live trees or branches for firewood. Fourth, build your fire. There are different ways to arrange your fire materials, such as the teepee, the log cabin, or the lean-to. The basic idea is to start with a small pile of tinder in the center of the fire ring, then add some kindling around it in a cone or square shape, leaving some space for air to flow. Then add some firewood on top of the kindling in a similar shape, leaving a gap to access the tinder. Use a match or a lighter to ignite the tinder, and gently blow on it to help it catch fire. As the tinder burns, it will ignite the kindling, which will in turn ignite the firewood. Fifth, maintain your fire. Keep your fire small and under control. Don't add more fuel than you need. Don't leave your fire unattended. Keep a bucket of water and a shovel nearby in case of emergency. If the wind picks up or changes direction, adjust your fire accordingly. Don't throw any garbage or food scraps into the fire. They can produce toxic smoke and attract unwanted animals. Sixth, extinguish your fire. When you are done with your campfire, make sure it is completely out before you leave. Pour water over the fire and stir it with a shovel to make sure all the embers are wet and cold. If you don't have water, use dirt or sand instead. Don't bury your fire, as it can smolder and reignite later. Feel the ashes with your hand to make sure they are cool to the touch. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. By following these tips, you can enjoy a safe and responsible campfire that won't harm the park or its wildlife. Remember, only you can prevent wildfires. One of the most important things you need to know when visiting parks is how to safely extinguish a campfire. A campfire that is not properly put out can cause a wildfire, damage the environment, and endanger other campers. In this video, we will show you how to extinguish a campfire completely and dispose of the ashes properly. There are 2 main methods to put out a campfire: using water or using dirt or sand. The best method depends on how much time you have and what resources are available. Let's start with the water method. To extinguish a campfire with water, you will need a bucket of water and a stick or shovel. Follow these steps. First, pour enough water on the fire to drown all the embers, not just the red ones. You should hear a hissing sound as the water hits the hot coals. Don't stand too close to the fire or downhill from it to avoid inhaling smoke or steam. Second, use your stick or shovel to stir the ashes and embers around. This will help expose any hidden embers that may still be burning. Scrape off any burnt parts on the sticks and logs to make sure they are fully extinguished. Third, pour more water on the fire until the hissing sound stops. This means that there are no more hot embers left. Feel the logs and coals with your hand to make sure they are cold to the touch. If you feel any heat, add more water and stir again. Fourth, spread out the ashes and coals over a large area to help them cool down faster. Don't leave them in a pile or a hole, as this can trap heat and cause a fire later. The water method is effective and fast, but it requires a lot of water. If you don't have enough water or you want to conserve it, you can use the dirt or sand method instead. To extinguish a campfire with dirt or sand, you will need some dirt or sand and a stick or shovel. Follow these steps. First, wait until the fire dies down naturally. Don't add any more logs or sticks if you know you are leaving soon. The fire should be reduced to ashes and embers before you start putting it out. Second, use your stick or shovel to mix the ashes and embers together. Uncover any large unburnt logs or sticks and make sure there are no embers underneath them. Third, stir some dirt or sand into the embers. You just need enough to smother them and prevent them from getting oxygen. Don't cover or bury the fire, as this can create a fire under the surface that can reignite later and make the dirt or sand very hot. Fourth, feel the fire with your hand to make sure it is cool to the touch. If you feel any heat, add more dirt or sand and stir again. The dirt or sand method is slower and less reliable than the water method, but it can be useful if you don't have access to water or you want to save it for other purposes. Once you have extinguished your campfire completely, you need to dispose of the ashes properly. Don't leave them at your campsite, as they can be harmful to plants and animals. Here are some tips on how to dispose of your ashes. If possible, find a designated ash disposal area in your park. This is usually a metal bin or barrel where you can dump your ashes safely. If there is no ash disposal area, you can scatter your ashes over a large area away from your campsite. Make sure the area is not dry or flammable, such as grass or leaves. Avoid scattering ashes near water sources, such as lakes or streams, as they can contaminate them. If you have a metal bucket or container, you can store your ashes in it until you find a proper place to dispose of them. Pour some water over them to make sure they are cool and wet. Don't use plastic bags or containers, as they can melt or catch fire. By following these steps, you can ensure that your campfire is safely extinguished and disposed of without causing any harm to yourself, others, or nature. Remember, only you can prevent wildfires. Thank you for watching this video on how to be fire smart and friendly when visiting parks this long weekend. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tips on camping and outdoor activities.